Good morning and happy Friday, beautiful people. Can you believe, we only have one more day left in May? That blows my mind. Of course, we're on 60-something days of coping while cooped, so I guess it makes sense. 2 months has gone by. Anyway, at least since we started having these conversations. All right. Oh, I guess we have 2 days left. I was looking at the wrong date. All right, anyway. Today's reading starts with this question from Anonymous. How important is it? The young man in the meeting was very angry and upset. His lawnmower had broken down. He was having a cookout in the backyard that evening. The yard looked terrible, and he paid a lot of money for that mower. After he went on for some time, an older woman gently interrupted him and asked, "Was anyone hurt? Was there danger? Would your guests walk out? And finally, did you lose your sobriety over it?" The young man smiled, and he answered no to all of the questions. No, it was not that important after all. We all overreact sometimes to situations, people, and events that later we see were really not that important. The next time we are bothered by someone or something that threatens to ruin our day, we will try to remember to ask ourselves, how important is it? If it's not important, we'll spend our time and energy on what is important. There is a world of difference. Today, help me to know what is important, to forget what's not, and to ask others for perspective when I am not sure. When I struggle with this, how important is it question, one of the tools that's helped me frame it over the years is adding timelines to it. And the other question that I ask myself is, will it matter if, or will it matter when? So a question would look like, will it matter in a week from now? Will it matter in a month from now? How important is it? Will I remember this even a year from now, a month from now? I find myself, especially the last year more than ever, as it relates to my job, and I'm learning how it relates to my personal life too, with my development, is if it's not important, I don't hang on to it as a general rule. And this is just another part of, it's an extension of what the reading was, because they didn't really get into this. But if I hang on to that, if something that isn't important, it's taking up space. Going back to that same virtual cup of shit we talk about. If there's space in there with things that aren't important or nonsense, we can't let in the good stuff. We can't focus on what is important. I've really developed this skill when it comes to my job and my priorities. And I ask myself this out loud a lot of times when emails come in, and I'm like, really? How important is it? How important is it that people even think about these things? Because I just don't think that way anymore. If it doesn't, and you can do it in a financial way too. So say you were at your job and you can make a difference of $4. Let's say by calling one customer, you can make a difference of $4. And I'm just making this up. Or you can, and that call would take, I don't know, a half an hour. Or you could spend that half an hour proofreading a financial report. I don't know. Pitching a new idea to your boss, and the new idea might be to sell 5,000 of this product at $10 a piece. Obviously, the second idea, pitching an idea that makes money, would have more value than maybe this $4 customer thing. And that's actually a really horrible example coming from someone in customer service, because taking care of the customers is more important. Let me see if I can think of this another way. Okay. How important is it if I've given someone information And maybe they follow through, maybe they don't. But I've given it to them. How important is it to give it to them the same information 2 or 3 times? Is it a good use of time, or looking for problems that don't even exist could be how important is it? I recently had something where it was like generated, like starting to create some of those negative feelings. And it was like, well, how important is it to get upset? Oh, okay. So I ordered some Blue October merchandise, and in it, there's 3 face masks. It was part of what prompted me to place the order. I was like, okay, cool. Cause I keep driving to the store, and if I take the wrong car, I only have 1 mask. So the mask is in the car because I was forgetting to leave the house with it. So they said that the product would be here in 3 to 6 days. And it's now been, 12 maybe. And I'm like, do I write him a note or not? Because generally, especially in today's day and age, I don't get all hung up on, if you say it's going to be here in 2 days, I'm not calling on the 3rd day. I'm asking myself, how important is it? Do I need it? In this case, I feel like I do need it because of the masks, but I need it for convenience more than anything, so that I can have, a mask maybe on my bike and one in the other car, just so that I have it in places that I would need it. So it's not life or death because I have the 1 mask. If I didn't have the 1 mask, then we're talking, dangerous, heightened dangerous. It might become more important. But the fact that this package isn't here, I had to remind myself yesterday, well, how important is it? And there's some new clothes in there as well. And tonight's a show. One of my little watch Justin sing concerts tonight. So let's say I framed this as it wasn't about the masks, which is, important in the grand scheme of things to have them. But as I just described, I didn't need to have them. I'm going to survive without them. But let's say I looked at the clothes like, oh my God, there's a concert tonight and I want to wear the new shirt I just ordered online. Really? How important is it? If I put the emotions that come with maybe the disappointment of not having the masks or the shirt, or if I took that on as giving it such magnitude, my letter to customer service yesterday might not have been as pleasant. The universe might be like, well, Bobby, you're acting like a jerk, so we're not going to really hurry up and get your shirt there. So just putting that value on. And I think the reason this is important, or it's important to understand why this is important, how important is that lady's question in the reading. Did it cause you to lose your sobriety? And as we've been talking at night about some of the symptoms that can lead to relapse, we're talking about worry and frustration and all these things. So if we can take something that we've thought of as important before and make it not important, especially if it triggers those feelings of angst and discomfort and, bad moods or any of the things that are on the symptom list, then we need to not make it important. What we need to make important is our sanity and our positivity and, the things that do keep us in a better spot. So I liked that reading. How important is it? And again, the time frame thing, that saved me so much, especially in my job. I'll be like, okay, from a perspective of how important is it to battle something. That's what I mean by using it in the job. I also use it to pick my tasks. Now, if someone else is giving me tasks, a lot of times I don't really get to ask how important is it, because if it's important to them and they have a better position than me, then I have to make it important to me. That's the way the world works, I guess. Can you tell I struggle with that concept? But if it's something on my desk that I have to choose between doing X and Y, I ask, how important is it? Is it going to help my floral managers? Is it going to make a process better? Is it going to get us to save more money? How important is it? Other people's problems. how important is it if it impacts our wanting to place a bet? You know, these arguments in the thread that I was telling you about, these discussions, my impression is sometimes that there's certain people that just want to be right. And that's one of the things that I've given a lot less power and made a lot less important. I don't really care if I'm right anymore. That's not the point. I try to get more information out in front of people and let them make their own decisions, because it's not about me being right. All that does. So let's say that I was on one end of the spectrum and you were on another, and I fought to be right or to make you believe, like, how important is that? All that's going to do is stress me out, because you're never going to change your thinking. That's you. And that's why you're perfect just the way you are, because you have your own thinking and I have mine. So it's not important to me to be right. But watching some of these conversations, it looks like some folks might think that the more they argue, the more maybe they're going to convince other people to think that they're right. And I just don't value that. I don't think that that's important. There was another example that popped in my head and I totally lost it. All right. I guess I'm done on my how important is it. And I think that you can probably figure out for yourself some of those buckets of what, is our ego important? Is that, okay, here's another example. I had somebody kind of like a middle person between the stores and the floral office. And he calls me and he says, do you have more product? And I didn't, but here's how I valued my time and effort. If he had told me, I have a store that's completely wiped out, customers are frustrated, there's no other nurseries around, blah, 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 it would have been very important. I might have went out and bought a whole new truck. I might have bought from someone I don't normally bought from. I might have, spent a lot of time trying to move product from another store to this store. However, the reason he was looking for more product was because there was a sales contest, and one of the stores, there was a store manager, I believe, that was getting promoted, and he didn't want to look bad because of his ranking on the contest, because he was in one of the lower performing stores. So do we get more product just to help one person look good? People aren't going to remember, by the way. Nobody's going to remember who won or lost the contest as a general rule, because it's not important to them if they're practicing the how important is it. But would it have been a good use of my time to maybe spend hour, 2 hours trying to, maybe more, get them product for this reason? I didn't think it was that important. So just random examples. And depending on your profession, your life, your relationships, all that stuff, you have to decide for yourself what things are important and what aren't. But just don't put yourself at risk. It all goes back to that. All right, beautiful people. It's Friday. I'm going to wrap up my week at my day job. And I will chat with you guys tonight. I'm not sure if it'll be before or after the Justin concert. But yeah, it's date night with Justin. Love this night. All right, I'll talk to you later. Thanks, beautiful people.